The European Union at the beginning of the 21st century, a free movement area for goods, services, capital and people, a single market, an integrated economy in which the elimination of barriers for companies and for the labor force brings about countless benefits and creates new opportunities. Nevertheless, there are still problems which hinder the full exploitation of the European Union's economic potential. The 2004 and 2007 accession waves represented stages of maximum importance for the European Union's extension process by the entry of the Eastern economies into the European area. For the members of the new Europe, the accession to the European Union was a major political and economic event which took place in an atmosphere of optimism and of huge expectations. The macroeconomic conditions appeared very favorable. However, the progress achieved by the new member states was not unitary, and their economic accession process still has to take some important steps. Part of these economies have managed to reach a certain degree of income and labor force convergence, while others are still striving against the difficulties generated by the low yield levels, by inflation and by a decline in the number of the economically active population as a consequence of the migration of the qualified labor force to countries of Western Europe, which were able to provide higher incomes to them. Amid such conditions, shortly after the Eastern European accession wave, the global credit crisis and the effects of the recession seriously hit the European economy, the Eurozone being dependent on exports to a greater extent than the American market. The economic and financial difficulties spread immediately, seriously affecting the new member states. Under these circumstances, an efficient answer to the challenges which must be currently faced by the European economy rests in clustering, gathering competence and innovation in order to gain competitiveness and sustainable development. This process is extremely necessary in order to stimulate the economic competitiveness and the convergence of the newest member states. According to Michael Porter, the classic definition of clusters is among the most explicit. Clusters are geographic concentrations of interconnected companies and institutions in a particular field. Clusters comprise a group of related industries and other important entities in terms of competition, specialized input suppliers such as those of components, cars and services, or specialized infrastructure suppliers. These clusters often extend downstream to various distribution channels and clients, and laterally to manufacturers of complementary products and to industries interrelated in terms of joint qualifications, technologies or inputs. Some clusters include governmental institutions and of other types such as universities, standardization agencies, think tanks, vocational professional training providers, and employers associations, which ensure specialized training, education, information, research, and technical support. Likewise, according to the Community Framework for State Aid, Research and Development and Innovation, clusters represent groups of independent enterprises, startups, small, medium, and large enterprises, as well as research organizations working in a specific field and area in order to stimulate innovative activities by promoting intensive interactions, the sharing of facilities, experience and knowledge exchanges, and by the contribution to technology transfer, networking, and information dissemination among the enterprises belonging to the same cluster. In order to supervise the clustering phenomenon, the European Commission founded back in 2006 the European Cluster Observatory, which provided for the first time both qualitative and quantitative statistical data, as well as a comparative situation analysis on the clusters in Europe, useful to the decision makers showing an interest in European clusters and in the policies belonging to this particular field. Researches and studies conducted by this observatory in more than 30 European countries lead to the identification of more than 130 cluster support measures. The economic evolution and the dynamic of clusters on a global scale confirmed the direct effects they have on companies and on the other players involved in cooperation, but they also acknowledge the fact that the existence of clusters in a region create an atmosphere favorable to the development of companies and to the business environment in general. The benefits of the local or regional economy were carefully examined by the Center for Strategy and Competitiveness of the Stockholm School of Economics. The comparative analysis carried out by the Swedish economists revealed the fact that the newly founded companies from areas which concentrate activities belonging to the same field have better odds to succeed on the market, the survival rate of corresponding to the first year of activity being 23% higher than outside these clusters. Likewise, the startups founded in clusters have shown a potential to generate 35 more workplaces and to pay 19% higher wages to their employees. A highly important macroeconomic aspect consists of a better ability of these new companies to pay taxes and revenues, quantified by experts in a percentage which may rise up to 34%. The need to encourage such an entrepreneurial behavior lead to a definition of a number of European-level policy sets concerning clusters deriving from the research, innovation and industrial policies and from the policies for small and medium-sized enterprises. 86 billion euros were allocated for the period between 2007 and 2013 for knowledge improvement activities, economic rise and for innovation within the European Commission's programs and cohesion policies correlated with the objectives of the Lisbon strategy. From this total amount, important parts are dedicated to supporting cluster initiatives and infrastructures. The importance assigned by the European Commission to clusters development, to the improvement of Europe's knowledge base and to the optimization of the European research and innovation potential exploitation is evident. As a consequence of having acquired these funds in recent years, an important number of cluster-type organizations have been created or strengthened, currently estimated to more than 500 such structures in Europe. The European Regional Development Fund represents a financial instrument important for an integrated and sustainable economic development. Some of these actions target the mobilization of local and regional capacities and the diversification of economic structures, especially in research and technological development, innovation and entrepreneurship, the research and development support in small and medium-sized enterprises, the technology transfer, the improvement of the connections between small and medium enterprises and business centers, the support given to providers of services headed towards small and medium-sized enterprises by means of new financing instruments intended to stimulate entrepreneurship and innovation. In the context of European Economic Area convergence, the development of cross-border socio-economic activities represents a prerequisite for cohesion. On the 21st of December 2007, the European Commission approved the Hungary-Romania cross-border cooperation program for the period between 2007-2013 under the European Regional Development Fund. The program provides community support to the Hungarian regions of Csongrád, Békés, Hajdú-Bihor, Szabolcs-Szatmár, Bereg and to their neighboring Romanian counties of Timis, Arad, Bihor, Satu Mare. The global strategic objective of the Hungary-Romania cross-border cooperation program 2007-2013 resides in the stipulation of a partnership between socio-economic players sharing a common border, designed to facilitate a joint development by means of exploiting regional key opportunities. The border area between Hungary and Romania provides a wide range of natural resources, while the main activity sectors, namely the agriculture and the food industry, play a major role in the economy. The foreign direct investments play an important part in the development and restructuring of the regional economy. Whereas the large enterprises and the multinational companies operate successfully, the small and medium regional enterprises are still fragile. Another weak point is represented by the relatively low level of research and development activities. On these grounds, one of the priorities of the Hungary-Romania program 2007-2013 is the development of the entrepreneurial environment and the improvement of the human resources field by supporting cross-border entrepreneurial cooperation with investments made in entrepreneurial infrastructure and in a cooperation promotion in the research, development and innovation fields.
Asociația Clusterelor din România este un organism reprezentativ la nivel național al clusterelor. Ea cuprinde la ora actuală 20 dintre cele mai active clustere din România, practic jumătate din cele care nominal sunt recunoscute de către Ministerul Economiei. Asociația Clusterelor din România de asemenea reprezintă mediul economic reprezentat de clustere la nivel internațional. În ceea ce privește regiunea de vest a României, aceasta este o regiune cu un potențial economic deosebit de ridicat. De asemenea și fenomenul clusterizării este avansat. Astfel în regiunea
The Cluster Association from Romania is a nationwide representative organism of the clusters. At the moment it includes 20 of the most active clusters from Romania, in fact half of those which are nominally recognized by the Ministry for Economy. The Cluster Association from Romania also represents the economic environment represented by the clusters at the national level. What the western part of the country is concerned, this is a region that has a very high economical potential. Also the clustering phenomenon is very advanced. So in this western area we have at this time clusters in the area of ICT, automotive, regenerable energies and agriculture. Practically these areas are those that present the highest interest for the economic development in this region. Regarding the initiatives of the Chamber of Commerce in Arad, this has a very good collaboration with the Cluster Association from Romania for the generation and development of innovative clusters in the Western region, with a special accent on cross-border collaboration with Hungary. Here we can use the example of the cooperation in the area of the regenerable energies in a cross-border project, Energy to Power, and even more than that, in another cross-border project called Intercluster. There was an attempt for the challenge of creating new clusters, or even to investigate the possibility to set up new clusters in other areas, starting from organizing events in the constructions area and in the wood industry. Clusters from Romania as well as those from Hungary face a huge challenge in the next planning period 2014-2020, because at this time there is already a difference regarding the development stages of the clusters from Eastern Europe and those from Western Europe. Those from Western Europe already reached a maturity and excellency level proved by bronze and gold medals that they have achieved at the European level, as it results from the comparative analysis that was made in this regard, and they aim for the next period to conquer new markets. We are talking about the markets from Southeast Asia, Japan and United States. In Romania and Hungary, the situation is different. The clusters are only at the beginning. They are in the stage of generating and establishing priorities for their development. This is why the cooperation between these clusters inside the projects promoted by the Chamber of Commerce in Arad is a very important engine that will support, even in the future, the internalization of the clusters from both regions.
Promovate de către Camera de Comerț din Arad este un motor important care va sprijini și în viitor internaționalizarea clusterelor din ambele regiuni.
The economic practice has confirmed the triple helix cluster model, gathering companies, research units and local or regional administrative structures. But the experience of the emerging economies has shown that the classic model's three partners fail to naturally cooperate. Moreover, they do not know each other and do not communicate, the intervention of an external catalyzing factor being needed to train them in generating the cluster. Such a catalyst initiative is the creation of the Intercluster's cross-border cooperation network, a project in which GM Media of Szeged and the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture of Arad have joined their competences, their resources and their experience to promote the concept of clusters among cross-border region companies and to develop a collaboration strategy between clusters, companies and institutions which operate in counties located in the Romanian-Hungarian border area.
Úgy ítélem meg, hogy nagyon sikeres volt a projekt végrehajtása, és itt a záró rendezvényen nagy öröm volt látni, hogy a segítségünkkel, részben a segítségünkkel itt ebben a határmenti.
I believe that the project was successfully implemented, and at this ending conference I was glad that we were able to contribute to the development of clustering here at the border area, more exactly in Arad. We are pleased that the event was attended by managers of clusters from different parts of Romania. They have shared their experiences on the clustering process in different areas of the country. With the help of experts in this field, we had the opportunity to know the stages of collaboration between companies, entrepreneurs, local authorities and universities, the common goals of the collaboration being the development of the economy, namely supporting the activities of the firms in a given region.
Gazdaságfejlesztést végezzenek, együttesen segítsék a vállalkozók tevékenységét.
Professionals who implemented the project have identified sectors which are dynamic and hold a high potential to provide sustainable regional development. Besides the technological fields represented by the automotive industry and ITC, the construction sector, the integrated agribusiness development, tourism and regenerable energy resources stimulation represents the best directions to follow due to their innovative potential and to the resources provided by the Romanian-Hungarian border area.
În cadrul acestui proiect, noi, ca și parteneri ai Institutului Geamedia din Szeged, împreună cu dânsii am încercat să promovăm cât mai mult conceptul de cluster, să îl familiarizăm firmelor și instituțiilor. Iar ca un bun exemplu este înființarea de către Camera de Comerț Arad a unui cluster denumit Cluster Agrofood și încă a unui cluster numit Energy to Power. Clusterul Energy to Power este
In this project, as partners of the Institute GA Media from Szeged, together we tried to promote more and more the concept of clusters, to make it familiar to the companies and institutions, and a good example for this is the establishment by the Chamber of Commerce from Arad and an agro-food cluster and an energy-to-power cluster. The energy-to-power cluster is a cluster of renewable energy, and the agro-food cluster is an agro-elementary cluster. The agro-food cluster is formed of companies from the food industry, public institutions, institutions of research, and universities. Through this agro-food cluster, we intend to help the companies from this agro-elementary field, which is a field with high potential that needs support for promotion and development. As members of the agro-food cluster, there are companies from the west of the country, there are universities from Timișoara and Bucharest, and we also have as member the City Hall from Arad for now, but in the future we want to extend in Timiș County too.
Județul Arad deocamdată, intenționăm să ne extindem și pe județul Timiș.
Activitățile noastre cuprind deja din ultimii ani o preocupare constantă pentru ceea ce înseamnă a sprijini în mod direct mediul economic, sectoarele economice pe care le considerăm a fi prioritare pentru regiune.
Our activities already included in last years a constant concern for supporting directly the economic environment, the economic departments that we consider to be priority for the region. The western region, as you know, is built from the Arad, Karaseverin, Hunedoara and Timiș counties, so practically it is about an economical structure that is pretty diverse, and automatically the economical departments of the region, what we noticed from our analysis is that either there is a very large dynamic of the department or that there is a development potential of that department. These departments are pretty numerous in the region. I mean automotive and car industry based more on the presence of the multinationals, the Department for ICT that includes a large number of important Romanian companies that have a positive dynamic, the agricultural food industry, the energetic efficiency and regenerable energies department, and even departments like tourism or constructions, and here I mean more the sustainable constructions that connect with the energetic efficiency. So practically, analyzing this situation in the region and noticing that through some services or some activities that support directly companies from this department can generate positive changes, we consider that it is good to invest in creating two clusters in two departments. The cluster from the automotive industry and the one from ICT. These clusters were created at different moments. Automotive West is a cluster that was created in 2007 for automotive, and the one for ICT is more recent, in 2011.
Pentru automotive și acesta a fost creat în 2007. Iar clusterul tehnologia informației și a comunicațiilor este unul mai recent, din 2011.
Clusterul Roseng s-a înființat în februarie 2011 ca o asociație cu 26 de membri fondatori din cele trei medii definitorii pentru un cluster, și anume mediul academic, mediul întreprinzătorilor și mediul public. Prima activitate întreprinsă de membrii clusterului a fost formularea unei strategii pe termen.
The Roseng cluster was created in February 2011 as an association with 26 founding members from the three definitory areas for a cluster, namely the academic area, the entrepreneur area, and the public area. The first activity of the cluster members was to form a long-term strategy. Part of it was focalized on the year 2015 and another one on 2050. Considering the profile of the cluster, namely regenerable energies and energetic efficiency, we considered as being mandatory to connect with the European roadmap for 2050 in order for our activities to be relevant for Europe. At the present time, the cluster grew to 63 members. 55 of these are companies. The cluster was organized on departments. We have the photovoltaic department, where the members are part of the suppliers for the photovoltaic products. For example, for photovoltaic parks or any other solution, we have everything from all types of projecting to production of metallic structures and constructions. Another department is for the efficiency of the buildings, where we are happy to have very high competency in the Western region, recognized and accepted worldwide. The department for biomass, which we pride ourselves with, is the largest energy willow nursery from Europe, located in the Western region. The department of biogas, where we try to integrate farmers whose residues we could capitalize and transform then into biogas, the result being a great fertilizer that returns to the farmers. We are happy that the confidence increased over time between the cluster members so that we could start innovating activities, and even if it is a fantastic challenge because we are used to think that everything that was produced in Germany is better, we are confident in the fact that we can generate real value even in our region. In triple helix system, of course, this activity presents very high risks and it is impossible to be made individually, so a collaboration network is mandatory to spread the responsibilities and the risks. In this way, we succeeded to finalize our product by Aqua Solar Kit, an autonomous energetic irrigation system that was destined for the small farms and that can irrigate up to half a hectare. After a long and hard process that lasted 1 year and 3 months, we finally succeeded to launch it on the market and to start being able to take orders. The collaboration was very tight between 2 universities and 5 companies, each one having its own contribution. Each one gave the best, so that at the end we obtained a product assumed from a technical point of view as well as from the point of view of the necessity of the market. So that the University of Agricultural Sciences Banatul gave all the exact needs and characteristics that were needed, that this product was supposed to meet.
Strânsă între 2 universități și 5 întreprinderi. Fiecare a venit cu aportul propriu în acest proiect. Fiecare a furnizat ceea ce stăpânește mai bine, astfel încât în final am obținut un produs asumat atât din punct de vedere tehnic, cât și din punct de vedere al necesităților din piață. În sensul că Universitatea de Științe Agricole a Banatului a furnizat exact nevoile și exact caracteristicile pe care acest produs trebuie să le îndeplinească.
În primul rând, de ce salcea energetică? Salcea energetică este soluția pentru agricultură, energie și mediu. De ce agricultură? Folosește foarte bine terenurile degradate, terenurile cu exces de apă, care pentru alte culturi sunt indisponibile. De exemplu, ca orice altă cultură,
First of all, why energetic willow? The energetic willow is the solution for agriculture, energy and environment. Why agriculture? Because it uses very well the damaged lands, the water excess soils which are not good for other crops. For example, the corn or the wheat crops, they don't resist floods, while the energetic willow can. A big advantage for agriculture is that the works are executed only the first year. The willow is planted 1 time and you harvest it during 25 years. As agricultural works, we spread a total weed killer. We perform works of scarification, plowing, disking and planting. After planting, we use a soil herbicide for the weeds from the seeds, and afterwards we also use other 2 different herbicides for the vegetation. Why is it a solution for the energy? The willow has a caloric power of 4,900 kilocalories per hectare, which gives it a high burning power comparing with the one of oil or natural gases. Why a solution for the environment? First of all, through burning it emits very little carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The ashes is under 1% and the burning power is high. As we can see, even the synergetics fauna develops very well in the willow crops. A high quantity of oxygen is produced and it is a renewable energy which is recreated every year.
Oxigen și este o energie regenerabilă care se reface în fiecare an.
În anul 2007 am început prin coagularea unei mase critice de firme locale pe care le-am și vizitat în teren. Am vizitat atunci 55 de firme pentru a vedea stadiul actual al industriei care poate furniza pentru mari producători auto. Și în 2007 ne-am adunat la masă și am stabilit înființarea acestui cluster în formula așa zisă Triple Helix, adică un cluster de facilitare din care fac parte și administrație publică și universități, dar și firme. Noi, ca Agenție pentru Dezvoltare Regională, am fost facilitatorul acestui demers și am înființat acest cluster pe fondul venirii, să zicem, crizei economice. Din structura clusterului Automotive Est fac parte atât administrații publice, adică primăriile celor două orașe mari ale regiunii, Timișoara și Arad, Universitatea Politehnică a Timișoara, precum și cele două camere de comerț ale celor două orașe mari.
In 2007, we started by gathering a critical mass of local companies, which I started to visit. At that time, I already visited 55 companies, foreseeing the present state of the industry that can supply the big auto producers. And in 2007, we gathered and established the forming of this cluster in the so-called triple helix formula, meaning a facility cluster formed of public administration and universities, but also from companies. As an agency of regional development, we facilitated this step forward and we formed this cluster while the economic crisis was already here. The West Automotive Cluster is formed both of public administrations from the town hall of the two cities, Timișoara and Arad, the University of Polytechnical School Timișoara, as well as the two Chamber of Commerce and Industry from the both cities. At the beginning, we were supported by 3 local companies that wanted to be founders of this cluster, and after looking for opinions and needs between the companies from the region, we succeeded to attract in the cluster 2 multinational companies, Continental Automotive Romania and Yazaki Components from Arad. In this approach of clusters, we tried several ideas of projects. We had several counseling sessions, both with company members in the cluster and companies that we kept close to this structure, and we succeeded to reach an agreement to create a development center for the suppliers from the region. This development center wanted to be a center especially for the development of the technicians as a work group, these being strongly wanted by the companies from the region, and all this because of the lack of the vocational schools from our educational system, which were abolished in the past. Adding new qualities at this work group is a necessity that was noticed by all big companies from the region. Therefore, this center was transposed as an idea of a project and was taken over by one of the members of the cluster, in this case by Timișoara's town hall, and was proposed for finance in one of the operational sectorial programs. Now, this center is in the implementation phase and probably will be ended at the end of the year 2014. It has 3 competencies: 1 area of plastic injection, 1 area of mechanical processing with CNCs, computerized numerical controllers, where we will have a processing center and a lathe, and also a 3D measurement laboratory that will also certify these measurements. Within the center, we also have an administrative center where we will have several conference rooms for trainings and continuous formation for the company's staff within the region.
Câteva săli de cursuri și conferințe în care vom organiza trainingul și sesiuni de formare continuă pentru personalul firmelor din regiune.
Așadar, clusterul Tehnologia Informației și a Comunicațiilor, după cum vă spuneam, a fost creat în 2011, beneficiază de un număr de 35 de membri în prezent. Membrii sunt întreprinderi din sector, atât mari, multinaționale, cât și românești, întreprinderi mici și mijlocii din sector și micro-întreprinderi, administrație publică, camere de comerț și universitățile din regiune care acoperă tot ce înseamnă învățământ, educație pe partea de tehnologie a informației și a comunicației.
The cluster for ICT was started in 2011 and has a number of 35 members at present time. The members are companies from the region, large companies, multinationals as well as Romanian, small and medium companies from the region, and micro enterprises, public administration, chamber of commerce and universities within the region that cover everything that means education in the ICT area. This cluster started from the idea that the Romanian companies from the Western region that we want to support in generating own products, namely not only making ordered soft and making trade with software equipment, but to generate own products with own brands of that respective company and products that are competitive on the international market. Starting from this idea, the cluster is organized on 5 large work groups, namely IT services for public administration, and here we considered everything that means the use of IT for the support of the citizens, also a working group on startups in ICT, which means direct supporting so that new companies in the IT will be able to be started, innovative companies. There is a working group on research, development, education that focalizes on adapting the offer from the education department to the needs of the companies, and also a working group focalized on internalization, everything that means external promotion of the products that come from the ICT cluster and the presence at international events.
Care provin din clusterul tehnologia informației și prezența la evenimente internaționale.
Ami a Délalföldet illeti, nem túlságosan rózsás a helyzet, a világgazdasági válság eljutott ide erre a területre is. Az a jelentős különbség változatlanul megmaradt, hogy Szeged és
The situation is not too good in the Great Plain region. The global economic crisis has had an impact on this area too. The difference between towns is maintained, meaning that Szeged and its surroundings have a relatively good economic situation compared to other areas of the Great Plain, respectively the counties Csongrád and Békés-Kiskunság, which are in less favorable conditions. A major change is the opening of the Mercedes factory in Kecskemét, car production leading to creation of new jobs. As a result, we can expect the economic development of Kecskemét, namely its surroundings. From the cluster's point of view, we notice the tendency to increase their number. Also, the activity of clusters proves an organization more and more well structured. On the other hand, it is known that in the next financial programming period 2014-2020 of European Union funds, there are 2 areas where the value of funds will maintain or even will increase from the second National Development Plan. The 2 areas are clusters and innovation, which is an encouraging sign for us because the clusters will benefit from greater support from the European Union.
Az egyik a klaszterek, a másik pedig az innováció. Ennek örülünk, mert hogy a klaszterekre így több Európai Uniós forrást juthat.
The series of workshops dedicated to various sectors of activity, which were organized within the Interclusters project by consultants of GM Media of Szeged and by specialists of the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture of Arad, gathered companies from Romania and Hungary, representatives of the academic environment and of other institutions who debated on current topics regarding cluster generation and dynamization, cluster opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises located in a cross-border region, benefits of the innovative partnerships materializing in an increased competitiveness and employment opportunities. Economic experts and cluster representatives operating in the region presented the theoretical framework to the workshop participants, tackling the cluster creation opportunities and the advantages of a cooperation, showing trends and steps to follow, and cluster funding instruments accessible from public and international funding, but also providing specific examples of best practice in cross-border cooperation in the clusters field.
Egészen biztosan fölmerült önökben, hogy ez az interklaszteres együttműködés, ez a határon átnyúló együttműködés milyen eredményekkel járt. Én tulajdonképpen 3 nagyon fontos elemet szeretnék kiemelni. Ebből az első nagyon fontos, hogy nem egyszerű európai együttműködésből fakadó.
Perhaps you wondered what are the results of this cross-border cooperation developed by the Intercluster project. I would like to draw your attention to 3 very important elements. First, I would like to emphasize that it is not merely a collaboration for accessing European funds, but this collaboration refers specifically to economic development. Geographical boundaries have disappeared, so everything related to economic development must involve common goals. Another important conclusion is that in their turn, even companies can collaborate, competitive companies namely. This is my advice: to establish collaborations to form a pole of competitiveness, to learn to be competitive partners on the market, which in their turn collaborate. Another conclusion that can be drawn from this project relates to the importance of ongoing communication that is standing behind a permanent collaboration. We have organized formal conference meetings where we came dressed at black tie, but we realized that true relationships are born next to a glass of wine or brandy, through exchange of information, and the exchange of experience works much better in a relaxed atmosphere, and thus relationships are much easier.
Sokkal könnyebben működnek, és az információ is könnyebben áramlik, és kapcsolatokat is sokkal könnyebb kialakítani.
The Interclusters initiative now offers the Romanian and Hungarian companies operating in the cross-border region between the two countries access to information integrated in a joint database and structured on an effective communication interface, such as to facilitate partnership and cooperation through the portal www.interclusterhuro.eu.